What happens when a wealthy man, heartbroken and desperate, invites a homeless woman to accompany him to his ex-girlfriend's wedding? A story of transformation, empowerment, and redemption unfolds as two strangers from completely different worlds come together. But when they arrive at the wedding, everything changes in ways no one could have imagined. What happens when a wealthy man, heartbroken and desperate, invites a homeless woman to accompany him to his ex-girlfriend's wedding? It starts as an impulsive decision, but leads to an unexpected journey of transformation, empowerment, and redemption. When they arrive, everything takes a dramatic turn no one could foresee. Marcus stood in his sprawling penthouse apartment in downtown Atlanta, staring at the elegant wedding invitation on his marble countertop. The name Vanessa gleamed in gold lettering, alongside her fiancé's. Just reading it brought a pang to his chest. Vanessa had been his girlfriend for years, but their relationship ended when she accused him of being too focused on work, neglecting her in the process. Now she was moving on, with someone else. The thought of showing up alone to the wedding, surrounded by old friends and prying eyes, filled Marcus with dread. Later that afternoon, Marcus strolled through the busy streets of Atlanta, lost in his thoughts. The hum of traffic and chatter faded into the background, as his mind replayed memories of his relationship with Vanessa. He was about to cross an intersection when something caught his eye. A woman sitting quietly on a bench near the corner. She looked tired, her clothes worn and her hair unkempt, but there was a calm dignity about her. Marcus hesitated, then found himself walking over. "Hi," he said, his voice hesitant but warm. "I'm Marcus." The woman looked up, her deep brown eyes filled with a mix of surprise and caution. "I'm Janice," she replied, her voice soft yet firm. "Would you mind if I sat down?" Marcus asked. She gestured to the bench, and he took a seat beside her. As they spoke, Marcus learned that Janice had been a teacher before a series of unfortunate events left her homeless. Despite everything, she radiated strength and kindness, traits Marcus hadn't expected to find in someone living on the streets. Then, on an impulse he didn't quite understand, he said, "Janice, would you come with me to a wedding? My ex-girlfriend is getting married, and I'd like some company." Janice blinked, startled by the question. "You want me to go to a wedding with you?" "Yes," Marcus said. "I'll make sure you have a beautiful dress, and I'll cover everything. You deserve a day to feel special." Janice hesitated, then smiled. "All right, let's do it." Neither of them could have predicted how much this decision would change their lives. The next day, Marcus kept his promise and took Janice to one of the city's most exclusive boutiques. The moment they stepped inside, Janice's eyes widened at the sight of the luxurious surroundings. Rows of designer dresses, sparkling jewelry, and high-end shoes were displayed like art pieces. For a moment, Janice felt out of place. Her reflection in the pristine mirrors reminded her of how much her life had changed. But Marcus's reassuring smile gave her the confidence to take a step forward. The boutique staff, initially skeptical of Janice due to her worn appearance, quickly adjusted their attitude when Marcus explained that she was there to shop for an important event. They brought out their finest gowns and accessories, treating her with the same attention they would give to any wealthy customer. As Janice tried on dress after dress, her nervousness began to fade. By the time she slipped into a flowing navy gown that hugged her figure perfectly, the transformation was undeniable. When she stepped out of the dressing room, Marcus stared at her in awe. "You look incredible," he said, his voice full of admiration. Janice turned to the mirror, hardly recognizing herself. For the first time in years, she felt beautiful and confident. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion. "I've never felt like this before." Marcus smiled. "You deserve it, Janice." Later that evening, Marcus and Janice sat in a quiet cafe. The mood was warm and relaxed as they sipped their drinks and talked about their lives. Janice shared her story, how she had once been a passionate teacher before a series of setbacks left her unemployed and homeless. She spoke about the loneliness of life on the streets, but also the small acts of kindness from strangers that had kept her going. Marcus listened intently, deeply moved by her resilience. In turn, he opened up about his own struggles, how his relentless drive to succeed had cost him not only his relationship with Vanessa, but also a sense of balance in his life. "You're stronger than I could ever be," Marcus admitted. Janice smiled. "We all have strength inside us. Sometimes, it just takes the right circumstances to bring it out." Their conversation stretched late into the night, and by the time they left the cafe, a genuine connection had formed between them, one built on mutual respect and understanding. The day of the wedding arrived. As Janice stepped out of Marcus's sleek black car, she looked like a completely different person. Her elegant dress flowed perfectly, and her makeup and hair accentuated her natural beauty. But her transformation was more than physical. There was a newfound confidence in the way she carried herself. Marcus offered her his arm, and together they walked into the grand ballroom. The room was breathtaking, with glittering chandeliers, polished marble floors, and a live orchestra playing softly in the background. As they entered, conversations paused and heads turned. Whispers rippled through the crowd. People exchanged glances, trying to figure out who this stunning woman was and how she was connected to Marcus. From across the room, Vanessa caught sight of them. Her smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of surprise and unease. Throughout the evening, Marcus introduced Janice to his former social circle. While some guests greeted her warmly, others couldn't hide their judgmental stares. But Janice remained poised, her grace and intelligence shining through in every conversation. Vanessa eventually approached them, her tone polite but guarded. "Marcus, it's been a while," she said, her eyes darting to Janice. "And you must be—" "This is Janice," Marcus said with pride. "My date." Vanessa forced a smile. "It's lovely to meet you, Janice. You look stunning." "Thank you," Janice replied, her voice steady and confident. "You have a beautiful wedding." The air between them was thick with unspoken tension. Vanessa couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus's presence and Janice's undeniable charm was disrupting the carefully curated image of her perfect day. As the orchestra began playing a slow romantic tune, Marcus turned to Janice. "May I have this dance?" Janice hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He led her to the dance floor, and as they moved together, Janice felt herself relax. The music and the gentle rhythm of the dance seemed to make the rest of the world fade away. From the sidelines, Vanessa watched, her heart sinking. Seeing Marcus so at ease with Janice stirred a mix of jealousy and regret. She had expected him to attend the wedding alone, perhaps looking somber or defeated. Instead, he seemed happier than she had ever seen him. For Marcus, the dance was a revelation. Holding Janice in his arms, he realized that what had started as an impulsive decision had grown into something far more meaningful. After the dance, Vanessa found Marcus near the garden entrance. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice tight with emotion. Marcus nodded. "Of course." Vanessa hesitated, then said, "Seeing you with her tonight, it's not what I expected. I thought—" She trailed off, unable to finish her thought. Marcus looked at her calmly. "Vanessa, you made your choice. And honestly, I'm happy now. Janice has shown me what really matters." Vanessa's eyes glistened with unshed tears, but she nodded. "I see. I hope you're happy, Marcus." As she walked away, Marcus felt a sense of closure. For the first time, he was truly free from the weight of his past. Janice, who had overheard the conversation, approached Marcus with a tentative smile. "Are you okay?" "I am," Marcus said, his voice filled with certainty. "Thanks to you." They walked together into the night, leaving the judgment and whispers behind. For Marcus and Janice, this was the beginning of something new, a journey filled with hope, growth, and endless possibilities. As the night carried on, Marcus and Janice found themselves back on the dance floor. The orchestra's melody flowed through the room, creating an almost magical atmosphere. Marcus held Janice close, their steps slow and deliberate, as if the rest of the world had disappeared. "Thank you for saying yes to this crazy idea," Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible over the music. Janice looked up at him, her eyes shimmering. "Thank you for seeing something in me, Marcus, for giving me this chance." Their connection deepened with every shared glance and touch. Marcus realized that Janice wasn't just a kind-hearted woman who had fallen on hard times. She was someone with incredible strength and warmth. Someone who had taught him more about life in a few days than he had learned in years of chasing success. For Janice, this was more than a momentary escape from her struggles. Being with Marcus reminded her of the person she used to be before life had taken a harsh turn. A person who believed in herself, in possibilities, and in the goodness of others. Vanessa couldn't stay silent any longer. She approached Marcus and Janice near the edge of the ballroom, her expression a mix of curiosity and frustration. Marcus, can we talk? Vanessa asked, her voice strained. Marcus turned to Janice, who gave him a reassuring nod. Go ahead, she said softly. Vanessa led Marcus to a quieter area near the garden. She hesitated before speaking, her tone softer than before. I didn't expect to feel this way tonight, she admitted. Seeing you with her, it's made me think about what we had. I wonder if I made a mistake. Marcus frowned, surprised by her confession. Vanessa, we ended for a reason. I wasn't the man you wanted me to be, and you found someone who could be that for you. I've moved on. Vanessa's composure faltered. But what if we were too quick to end things? What if we could try again? Marcus shook his head gently. Vanessa, I'm grateful for what we had, but I've found something different with Janice. She's shown me a side of life I never knew I was missing. I hope you can be happy with the life you've chosen, just as I'm finding happiness with mine. Vanessa stood in silence, her emotions swirling as Marcus walked away. Marcus returned to Janice, his face unreadable. She looked at him with a steady gaze, sensing there was something he needed to share. Vanessa tried to reopen old wounds, Marcus admitted. But I told her the truth. I'm with you now. Janice's heart swelled with a mix of relief and pride. Thank you for being honest with me, Marcus. I've seen too many people break promises, and I didn't want this to be another one of those moments. I don't make promises I can't keep, Marcus said sincerely. Janice took his hand. Then let's keep dancing. The whispers in the room began to change. Guess who had initially judged Janice now saw her differently. Her composure and grace, despite being thrust into such a high society event, earned admiration from even the most skeptical onlookers. As the evening wound down, Marcus and Janice decided to leave the wedding early. They stepped out into the cool night air, hand in hand, ready to start a new chapter together. The streets were quiet as Marcus and Janice strolled through the city. For the first time in a long while, Marcus felt unburdened. He no longer cared about his past with Vanessa or the judgments of others. What mattered was the woman walking beside him. Marcus, Janice said, breaking the silence, thank you for tonight, not just for the dress or the event, but for treating me like a person, for seeing me. Marcus stopped walking and turned to her. Janice, you've shown me what really matters in life. This isn't about one night. It's about everything you've taught me in such a short time. I don't want this to end. Janice smiled, her heart full. Neither do I. Back at the wedding venue, Vanessa watched from a window as Marcus and Janice disappeared into the night. A wave of regret washed over her. She had spent the evening trying to maintain appearances, only to realize she had lost something genuine with Marcus. But as much as it hurt, Vanessa knew it was too late. Marcus had found someone who brought out a side of him she hadn't seen in years. And for the first time, she understood what it meant to truly let go. The night wasn't over for Marcus and Janice. They found a quiet cafe still open and sat together, sharing stories and dreams over steaming cups of coffee. Where do you see yourself in a year? Marcus asked. Janice thought for a moment. I want to teach again, she said, to rebuild my life. And I want to keep believing in the good things that can happen, like tonight. Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. Then let's make it happen. Together. As they left the cafe, the city lights seemed to shine brighter. Their journey was just beginning, and both knew it would be filled with challenges. But together, they felt ready to face whatever came their way. Walking through the quiet streets, they smiled at each other, filled with hope and a shared sense of purpose. For the first time, Marcus and Janice weren't looking back. They were looking forward to a future they were building together.